Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello, Mel.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. Happy birthday. It's not today, but still, it was your birthday this week. Happy birthday. How was it?
Aw, thank you. It was quite wonderful. I woke up to Olivia and her dad making pancakes. I had a nice pancake breakfast, and I got to snuggle with Violet and sleep in a touch.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, so we had breakfast all together, which is rare that we actually sit at the table. We should do it more often all together because of our work schedules, and had a nice breakfast. And the kids each picked out their own card. So Olivia picked out a card with like a little dog on the front with very sparkly shirt, and I very much dislike sparkles, but it was very cute. She said the dog is like dressed in necklaces and looks all pretty, like if it's going to work or something. And then Violet, she picked out a Dora card, and it says, "Hola, happy birthday."
That sounds so Violet.
So it was very cute. And then I treated myself to a really nice lunch at work. My colleagues, wished me happy birthday and stuff. And then we had a pizza dinner with some awesome vegan cupcakes. So, and the girls went to bed at a decent time. I was in bed by like 8:30. Fantastic day, no complaints.
Hey,
Yay.
hey, what about the Starbucks gift card I emailed you?
And the Starbucks gift card was the highlight of my day.
All right. Okay, so it wasn't my birthday this week. I did bake some goodies. I baked a banana. I'm not a baker, so this is like a miracle. So I baked a banana bread with chocolate chips on top. It was so good. I just have to say, because Johnny started listening to our podcast, and he's gonna get some really bad news when he listens this week. So I ate all the banana bread. I, and it tasted so good. He had like a slice or two. But the thing is with him, it's like unless you hand the food to his face, he doesn't know it exists. And honestly, it was in a glass container on the counter. And I know for a fact, like every day he's having his coffee, he's even skipping breakfast, and he doesn't see it. So I don't feel bad because they're in a glass container. You hear me, Johnny? It's on a glass container on the counter. So you missed out. It's your fault. And basically, yeah, I there's one more piece that I don't want to tell him. I'm
Oh
just
my
gonna like sneak and have it tomorrow because it's so good, so good.
Are you
Anyways,
gonna do like our mom used to do and hide it in the back of the fridge so he doesn't see it?
I don't have to. It's been in a glass container for an entire week.
True.
He's like, oh, the banana is so good, so good. I gave some to Jackson. He didn't want it. And so Johnny's like, oh, I'll take it. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good you forgot, but whatever. I don't care. I benefit enough of it forgetting. So look, aside from banana bread, there was just so much that happened this week. I'm still sort of processing it. I know you just finished watching Friday's episode. So, oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, I don't even know how we're going to do this, getting into everything that happened with Kiki. I mean, we'll try to start at the beginning, but it was a big week this week.
It was huge, and I genuinely, I know this sounds crazy, but I feel like emotionally drained. Like I'm just
Yeah.
so like sucked into the story and the everybody's reactions and crying and just being in it, and I'm just like tired.
Yeah, it was a big week because the thing is, they confirmed her death on Wednesday. So the thing is, up until and Wednesday at the end of the episode. So prior
Mhm.
to then, I was holding on to hope.
God, yes.
I was holding on with such desperation because, we talked about this. There was a lot of rumors that we all knew that she was leaving for another show. And there were rumors going around that her exit, she might be one of Ryan's victims. And I mean, I was really hoping that wouldn't be the case. I really, really liked Kiki. But
So,
yeah, it happened. And I mean, against everything that I really, really wanted. And you know what
like,
the thing is?
oh, what?
With Kiki especially. So
Yeah.
Marianne0410 said this: why kill off Kiki? She was finally growing on me since the other Kiki left. I feel a similar thing. The whole part of like Kiki growing on us, and we talked about it a little bit last week. I mean, I guess it's part of the whole her exit, but she did get so much story towards the end. And it was finally getting good with Kiki. She finally wasn't like an accessory to somebody else's storyline. She was getting her own. In the past, she was always the girl to a long-standing male character on the show, the Corinthos guys, like Michael, Morgan, or Dylan even. But I don't know, I feel like with everything that happened with Griffin, it was kind of like Griffin was Kiki's boyfriend and not so much like she wasn't the secondary person in this whole story, and everything that was going on with her mom. doing her whole doctor thing, being Avery's big sister. I find she was finally getting her own stuff. And so it is hard because we got a lot of Kiki and then they took her away.
It's so true, so true. Like just the fact that she was becoming her own person,
Hmm.
strong, living a better life, making better choices. And yeah, like I feel like Griffin was her accessory. Like even though there was that whole storyline, she still, came out on top and wanted
Yeah.
to be better and make change and create this wonderful life that she never really had. She was just kind of starting from scratch. And that takes, like I know it's a character, but it takes a lot of strength, and you get kind of, you follow that, and you're supporting her and you want her to succeed, and just like to see it all just disappear, just like so frustrating.
Yeah, it was. So it really was. So let's go back a little bit to the beginning this week. So
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I mean, like I said, I was holding hope that, she would survive this whole thing. But the
Hmm.
way her and Griffin parted ways in the apartment, I was just like, no, there was something so
I know.
final about their farewell, painting a picture of vacations and obviously too, like the way she was staring at him, like that picture, like there was, and like there was just something so final about it. And like from that point on, I basically was just anxious for the rest of the week. What did
Oh
you
my
think
God.
about that, their final scenes together?
Same here. Okay, so the fact that like the whole like I need you now, and like being in this moment and expressing how much they love each other and how much they're grateful for each other
Oh
and
yeah, grateful. That part.
support.
That's the way to go. I mean, if she had to have her last moments, those are the last moments to have.
Yeah, but I have to admit, when he caught that call from Monica, and I'm like, why do you have to fix your hair? Go with him. Why do you need to be alone? Like, I'm
I
just
know.
so
I
mad.
know. I was so angry too. And I'm like, maybe she'll hear me through the TV and just be like, there's a bathroom at GH, a locker room. I can totally just get ready there and save time. So yeah, yeah, that was really hard. That phone call, knowing he would end up at the hospital and knowing she would be alone.
Oh,
So scary. So
so
scary.
scary. And then when she opens the door and how they filmed his face, like nightmares, nightmares.
Yeah, like it's getting really terrifying. It's getting really petrifying with him and it's getting extremely dark. So, okay, at least they didn't show too much. Like, I have to be honest, I really would
Yeah,
not have
thank God.
wanted to see that whole scene play out. So, we see him, okay? So, we have the backdrop of all of this is this wedding that everybody's going to. So, Griffin, he is
Lost
a
puppy.
doctor. He is a doctor. But he is not super bright. You know those people who are just like good at like one thing? That's Griffin because he's not good at a lot of other things in life. And it's I just couldn't believe it. To come back into the apartment, I'm like, is he for real? Like the
I
door is
know.
open. If I came home to my home and the door was slightly open and there was a broken vase, I mean, oh geez, if Johnny doesn't call some point during the day or he's home, like he's a bit later than usual, I'm just like, what happened? What happened? This guy has all these clues and nothing. Like like the fact that he just keeps chalking it up to Kiki was in a hurry. She was in a hurry? You keep saying this to yourself. She was in a hurry. What was she doing? She was twirling around when she was getting ready. She got her hair done and she's like, let me just spin around and knock over this vase. Like I did not understand. And I actually thought that when it came Wednesday and Val came to get him and he was standing in front of the room and they said it was a female victim, I honestly thought all this time he was just in denial because he seemed scared when he found out it was a female victim. And I thought in that moment, okay, so you know what? He probably was so freaked out and he was just being delusional as a way to protect himself, but not really, because when they were investigating him, he starts saying, I really just thought she was in a hurry. Up until that point in time, this guy thought she was just in a hurry.
He's kind of like a cute lost puppy.
Yes, he was so lost in these past episodes. Did you notice? Okay, he wasn't the person that was lost. Kiki was lost, but how lost did he look searching for her? Did you notice that in Jordan and Curtis's first dance, they kept showcasing him in the background searching for Kiki, like his head
Oh
just
no, I didn't
looking.
notice.
He's just like looking around and just sort of like awkward because his date's not there, and I just could stop laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh! And how many times did he? Well, Maxie kind of pointed out that he had left the church and the reception. I
Yeah,
didn't realize he left that many times, but I'm
me
just saying,
too.
like, that doesn't concern you. Fine, you think she's in a hurry, but the fact that she's not showing up to the wedding, that doesn't ring any alarm bells. Oh, yeah, she's just at the wedding, just somewhere else on that boat that's enormous, apparently.
Well, this is the thing. That's what, like you say, like if Johnny's 5 minutes late, if I don't know what's going on, I'm like, what? Where's my family? Where's everybody? What's going on? Like, there's no sense of like, oh, well, I'll go check and the house is still empty and I'm just gonna sit here and look around bewildered and not
I
know what's
know.
happening.
I know, Johnny, again, background watching, he passes by and he was like, this is not enough to call the police. How long are you going to stare at broken glass for? And I just started I just started laughing because he was really inspecting it like this could be something evidence. No, apparently all the while he's just thinking, wow, Kiki, you're just so fun. You broke glass. Like I can't even begin to understand the stupidity. Yeah.
No,
And
like
so
when I was
then,
watching this, sorry, no, I
no,
was just
no, go
thinking
ahead.
like when I was, because you're talking about the glass, and I remember just like, because he picked it up, he looked at it, and it felt like this scene was like in slow motion. Like they spent so much time on that scene of him looking
Yeah.
on the glass, and all I kept thinking is, dude, you are so slow.
Yeah, that's exactly how that is, you know what? They did portray it really well because he took his sweet time looking around her apartment and you're just waiting for things to click because you're thinking, okay, it's happening. Oh my gosh, the unthinkable. They're really going through this storyline. And so you're waiting for it and it just it doesn't come. It doesn't come. Nothing clicks for this guy. Even when he sees the blood, I'm thinking, oh, there we go. Drops of blood. But then he explained it later when he was being interrogated that the blood was just probably from the vase she broke when she was in a rush, that she was so in a rush that she dripped blood on the shawl and left the shawl behind and then realized she had to run out and then couldn't lock the door.
Okay,
What?
but that is like so weird. Who runs out of the house and doesn't close their damn door?
In
Like
Fort
this is
Charles.
2018. Like,
I know. Anyways, he was being really, really silly. But okay, so at the wedding, I mean, sorry, at the reception when all of this is happening. So poor Jordan and Curtis, it's the end of their wedding. They're about to go get their honeymoon started when guests,
consummate.
yeah. And anyways, the guests are still there. Like people were
I
still
know it's so weird.
there. I'm just like, whatever floats this boat. The thing that I found really strange was okay, yeah, it's super scary. You found a body. That's how they left it off. But then the next day, they thought it was just somebody passed out in their room. And then they realized that the person was dead. I'm just saying, the boat was rented out for a private party, your party. Everybody on that boat are your guests. Not one of you at any point. You all, they acted like it was just some stranger, some person passed out. How were you not freaked out? You had a small wedding.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no one is turning the body over. Like, none of these people, like Jordan is the commissioner. She couldn't turn him over, but it was okay for Griffin to come in and just roll her whole body over.
No, my favorite part was I checked her pulse, but I'm not a professional. So you're telling me that she could have been alive, but you're not sure because you're not a professional.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even catch that. I just noticed that she checked her pulse and was like, this person's dead. And about the whole pulse and the uncertainty and time of death, the thing that was really heartbreaking was Griffin comes in, he drops the scarf, although he still wasn't
Yeah.
sure it was Kiki. But, anyways, he goes over to see her, rolls her over. But then the guy just finds out the girl that he's just so
No.
mad for and in love with is dead. And Jordan's like,
Call it.
can you
Call
call
it.
it? Because CSI is like a little tied up right now. A little tied up. Can you call
I
it?
know. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, dude, seriously?
And then you want to get all like, hey, well, you got to leave the room now because you're not CSI. No one can be in here. Nobody can contaminate the crime scene. But once you call it, I need to get you away from this. And it was just like, it made it real when they brought him out. And then you see Lulu
Yeah.
and Maxie looking at his reaction. And even Valerie's, I liked her subtle
Yes.
reaction because she knew Kiki and just to see her grab her stomach and for her to you can tell that she was registering the gravity of the whole thing and then having like Lulu and Maxie realize that somebody died and who it was like the beginning of all the like emotion coming out.
Because here's the thing, okay, like we're used to like coming back to life, evil twin brother,
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
tumor, but like when it's like it just felt so normal and almost real, like this could happen.
It did feel really real watching everyone react. I mean, it was the whole thing was so dramatic, but it was very, very dark and really
Just
hard to watch because you
yes.
might not think that you label Kiki as one of like the main characters. Obviously she had one of the main storylines recently and we were all hoping she was Nina's daughter, and I mean honestly she could very well still be Nina's daughter, but even
Oh,
that would be heart-wrenching to see.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was just hard because I think in that moment it's kind of gets real because now you're watching everybody react to her and realizing she had a bigger impact and more connection to Port Charles, and maybe you realize like how many people are actually going to be affected by her loss.
Yeah, like it yeah, definitely like ripple effect and you felt it like it just didn't feel like I was watching my soap opera anymore.
No, no, it was no.
You know?
And imagine at this point you still haven't watched Ava react.
I know.
So
Ugh,
all of this is happening. People are like, so Wednesday this is happening. We know who the body is. Griffin obviously is very grief stricken, but he's not picking up on the fact that they want to search his apartment and why they
I
would want
know.
to search his apartment. And I'm just like, oh, Griffin. Like,
You
I
know,
mean,
in that scene though, I think it was Chase. Chase trying to be serious always makes me giggle.
because he's so the opposite in his real life, but he's kind of mean as a detective. Like
Right?
he is. He's really harsh as a detective, and I felt like going. I know this is not how you do detective work, but I'm like, doesn't he know Griffin? Doesn't he know Griffin could never ever do this? And I know that's not enough to not arrest someone, but still, come on.
Ugh, yeah. I was just looking, I think, for um, happy moments in the darkness.
Yeah, and so the moment, okay, I have to read you this quote, okay?
Okay.
So once they start to hint, well, they don't really hint. Chase and Jordan explicitly kind of exchange that he's a suspect. Okay, I have this reaction. LOL. Of all people to kill her, he's the number one suspect. I mean, the show is definitely fumbling the storyline. It's almost a joke at this point. Just turn it into a dream sequence and pretend it never happened. That's that's harsh.
Ooh.
That came from my husband.
I kind
I
of love
was just I was just laughing. He had such a strong he texted me this because he was like, what's going on? Like while he was at work, he was asking me what was happening. And when I saw his text, I did not expect such a drastic like response to the whole thing. I just thought it was so funny and I had to to, to keep it to share with you. I thought it was hilarious. So yeah, so Griffin for real now is becoming a suspect. And
Yeah.
so this is where my and you know this, my feelings about the PCPD. I just don't think they've ever actually solved a crime. I don't. I
Right.
don't think they've ever solved one crime without outside help. And I was just laughing and it really and like that it really made me think of it when I read this person's comment from Instagram. ITWO49 wrote, I don't like their detective work. Curtis is a way better cop slash detective. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. The looks he was giving them, like when they were doing their investigation, and then he's like,
Yeah.
Griffin, he just looked like dumbstruck. Like, you are seriously kidding me that you think it's Griffin.
I'm laughing because I feel like he's such a reflection of the audience because he did
Yes.
the same thing with Carly. He's just using common sense. And I mean, I get that you're a cop and you have to do things by the book and you have reason to suspect him. That's fine. Do what you have to do. But do you really have to? I mean, I know this sounds dumb, but do you have to do it so convincingly? Like, why you look like you're buying into this theory
I
rather than
know.
exploring it and investigating it. And I get you have to intimidate him, but I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead, but when Jordan is interrogating him and she's like, "I have a motive. Monica told me one." I'm like, "What
I know that was so
possible
weird.
motive could you come up with?" They're like, Ava turned you in and you got suspended. I'm like, wouldn't like still sleeping with her daughter cover that? Like
Well,
he would not need
exactly.
to I don't like it's not even logical. And thankfully Anna, no, it was I think it was Alexis that pointed that out to her that
Yeah,
that
Alexis.
just didn't make any sense as a motive, and it really doesn't because it's Griffin, and I know that's not how you do police work, and you can't just write in your report, but it's Griffin. But the point is, he's not capable of something like this. The motive doesn't make sense. And honestly, is somebody having memory loss? You literally just had someone die, and there were breadcrumbs leading you to someone, and it turned out that that did not make any sense either. And you're not seeing a pattern here.
I feel like Curtis will point out the pattern.
Well, yeah, he started the legwork today when he overheard what Sasha was saying
Oh.
to Nina and Valentine about the scene that Ava set up.
Yes. I like the panic that Sasha had because it really like continues the conversation that we've been having.
Mm-hmm.
She's so normal. She's come into yes, this weird situation. She's agreed to a very strange job at this point in time, but she's just so weirded out by everything that's happening. It's like it's amazing to kind of see.
It's hilarious. That's all I kept thinking when I saw it today. I was literally talking to my TV and I'm like, too much for you, Sasha? Is this too much? I told you should have looked up the crime rate. And I was just laughing. I'm like, you are not made for Port Charles. Like to everyone else, this is just, another Wednesday.
Pretty
And she's
much.
all whining, oh, I get drunk, people I know get murdered. Okay, that's everybody in this city.
It's so true.
You're
So
not
true.
special, Sasha.
Oh my God. It's sad but true. The life in Port
Yeah.
Charles. I don't know why people keep moving there. Real estate must be really cheap.
You'd think, who knows? Who knows at this point? She thought the job she was taking was really cool, but whatever.
I
So
know.
yeah, so Curtis is starting there. Valentine was being kind of like, were you deputized? And I'm like, well, yeah, he married the police
No.
commissioner. That is how you do that.
Hello. In Port
Yeah,
Charles, fast track.
they fast track cops, doctors, anybody. Anyways, but I mean, you saw Nina's look to Valentine today when
Yes.
she was like, why are you
Being so weird
reacting
and
this way?
defensive. Well, not
Well,
defensive, but
yeah,
like just reactive. Hold your horses, man. This is not your daughter. This is not your situation to deal with. Calm down.
I just thought Nina would have jumped in. I really thought she would have jumped in. I mean, she didn't hesitate to go after Griffin at the wedding and basically try to push him to press charges.
True.
So
Maybe
I
she
was
was just kind of wrapped up in Valentine's reaction.
I think so too, and I think it really hit her that Kiki passed,
Yeah.
like she does have a history with her. Yeah, so that was so I mean there's that. I don't really know if that's going to be a clue for Nina to kind of open her eyes. She's had this is now the second thing that's a bit odd between Valentine and Sasha that she's observed, so we shall see. Are you ready to get back into some really really dark stuff?
Yeah, I like that we kind of meandered around it a little bit, but yeah, I think I'm ready. I think I'm
Yeah.
emotionally ready.
Okay. So, okay, how about I I meander
I'm
one
on
more.
edge. I'm on edge.
I know. It feels like the week's episode. Okay, how about I meander one more second
Okay,
before we
okay.
jump into Ava finding out about her daughter. So this one I loved. Island life is the life. There are no cameras on the Haunted Star. Really? So
I know. I was
yeah,
thinking the same damn thing. Like, come on now.
I'm gonna take a cheap shot at Lulu. Seriously, Lulu? No security on the Haunted Star? It's on you. No, I'm
What was
kidding.
her
It's
excuse?
on
I
you.
haven't worked here in a really long time. I don't know.
Makes me less responsible because I'm a
I'm a
reporter now.
reporter.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Okay, so I know we already talked about Griffin obviously being their number one suspect. Number one. Like seriously, I mean it's whatever. Okay, so this is WJS grandma. Can't believe they killed her off the show. This is before they arrested him. Can't believe they killed her off the show. I don't know. I didn't know she was leaving. As for Griffin, we know he didn't do it. Of course they will blame him because they will find evidence in his room. But I started laughing because this was before we found the evidence. But the moment they said they were
Oh,
checking his apartment, I think everyone but Griffin
yeah.
put two and two together. So anyways, okay, you ready? Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Griffin shows up. Did you not think that Griffin was going to show up there to blame Ava? That's what I thought.
No, I really just think he wanted to tell her because Griffin is not, yeah, he's angry and stuff, but he was just so grief stricken that I think he just wanted to tell her. Like, I didn't have that in my mind
Okay.
that he was going to get upset with her.
I just thought that just because the way he was banging on her door, he seemed a little bit angry. So I'm like, oh my gosh, is he actually going to accuse her? Okay. So he goes in and she's in complete disbelief.
Ugh, it like that, it was where it all kind of started, where I was, oh my God, like, how is he going to get her? Like, first of all, stop talking, Ava. Let him finish his sentence. Let him
But she
tell
had
you
the
what is going on.
but she had the nerve to kind of deny the whole scene. I mean, obviously she didn't know what was happening and she didn't know it was real, but even in that conversation, she's still Ava. Like she's reminding us I'm the villain here.
True. Very good point. I didn't pick up on that, but very, very valid point.
So then they end up at the Haunted Star, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, so at this point, she's following him just to sort of prove him wrong and to find out
Yeah.
what the hell he's talking about. Um, it was just amazing. It was just like that's the thing. She is the villain, but in that moment, we were with her and we were completely on her side. Like
Well, in
she
that
always
moment,
makes
she
us
was,
feel things.
yes, absolutely. And like, but in that moment, you know, you hit the nail on the head. It wasn't Ava the villain. It was this woman, a mother, who lost her child.
Yeah, it was
And
so
that's where like I couldn't take it. Like I couldn't take it.
but it was just like not only did she have an amazing performance where we felt everything she said, it's just her reaction was very reflective of Ava, of who Ava was and their relationship together. First of all, it broke my heart when she said her full name, but the fact that she was
I
yelling at
know.
her to get up and the fact
I
that she was
know.
yelling at her, that was so reflective of them and who they were and their dynamic. So I felt like that was so cool is just that not only are you reacting to this horrific news, but you're also just in this moment demonstrating your relationship to everybody too. It was messed up, but you love her.
It was authentic.
I really, really liked it. I didn't even know what else to say about it. It was just so much, and just the reactions in the room, like just having the detective, everybody stare at her, and Jordan most of all, being a mother as well,
Yes.
and having to watch that, it was just amazing.
I just watched it and honestly, like it's almost like I stopped breathing and I was tearing up and it was just too much. And exactly that. It's like not only was the whole room silent, like I know I was watching it by myself, but I was like almost holding my breath in silence, just like watching this and her reaction and
Yeah.
what was going to happen next, who was going to comfort her, what is going to come next of the situation because it was so intense.
Yes, I don't even know how to explain that, but yes, when I was there, it was like frozen in time. Like I was frozen. I wasn't moving a
Yeah.
muscle. And you had told me that the guy who plays Chase, Josh Swickard, had said that in reality, what was his comment? That when she finished that scene, it was dead silent for like a few seconds afterwards, and then filled with applause because it was
Yes.
just such an impactful performance. So yeah, it
Yes.
was. So that is exactly how it felt at home. Like when it was over, you just sat there in silence, and I had like one tear in each eye just come down. I'm like, you're so good, you're so good. I mean, but then you have Griffin's face. I mean, I guess more his mourning face is also his lost face.
I know. That's
But
why
then there
I
was
couldn't
that
feel
face
for
in
him.
the background, and I was just like, can you just, can you stop?
Like
Right
honestly,
now,
like
I
like
can't.
I know he's, but I can't feel sad for him. Like when Julian reacted, when Franco reacted, when Carly reacted, when Sunny reacted, like those were real feelings. When Griffin reacted, I'm like, hey, lost puppy, go find your way back home.
Yeah, like he's a complete mess and all over the place.
Yes.
I don't know if it makes a difference that he was there and just very confused, like he hasn't really processed it. But I do hear what you're saying. We have yet to see what will happen like after this. But
Mm.
yeah, no, I do understand, and I mean, I think too with everybody else, there's a more of a history to
True.
this
Good point.
person. She has like a. I'm not saying they didn't have anything. They just started something. But I mean, Kiki had a deep place in Sunny and Carly's hearts, you know, and in their reaction to her death, she is inextricably linked to Morgan, and just the way they framed it, because obviously Kiki Avery and in their world Ava doesn't exist. So to hear about Kiki, they don't think about Ava like, oh no, Ava now lost a child too. They're just sort of focused on Kiki and focused on who she was to Morgan and focused on this young couple. So they just framed her loss in a really, really different way, showing you the different sort of impacts she's had on other people. So for Sunny and Carly, you know, she was the love of their son's life. And
Yeah.
they look at it like youth, and this young couple is just no longer here.
Oh, that's
But it's just,
heartbreaking.
did you notice all the mob people, the way they reacted, like between Julian and Ava? Like Ava was like, "Who would attack my daughter?" And even
Hmm.
Julian was like, "What?" And even Sunny, his reaction was like, "Who would hurt Kiki?" Like all these people who I guess understand murder, not in a
Yeah, that's a
psychotic
good
way like
point.
Kevin, not like Franco in terms of
But
like being a
murder with
serial killer.
purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah, murder with purpose, with
none of
integrity or whatever you want to call it, like the way, like the
with a
code that they
code.
live by. Yeah.
Yeah, none of them understood it. None of them got it because, for all intents and purposes, she would be untouchable between
Yeah.
the Corinthos and the Jerome. So I guess for them, it absolutely makes zero sense. So yeah, and I mean, this is a strange thought. Like Ava lost a child. There's a lot of grief, but I think at the same time, you know, it's been a long time where she feels annoyed that Sunny and Carly have never really let go of her part in Morgan's death. And she's been annoyed
Okay.
by it. She's just like, oh, forget about it. You know, like he died. Yes, you know, I made a mistake, but I didn't exactly kill him. And I'm just wondering if experiencing the loss of a child, like she's experiencing it right now, if that might change her understanding of why they feel the
Hmm.
way that they do toward her. I mean, look, it's not like they're going to be besties after something like this, but it is a big thing that is between them. She did this
Maybe.
horrible thing to their son. They continue to blame her, but despite this, they all continue to kind of try to coexist. So I do wonder what this would mean for that.
Well, it is still Ava, so it's going to be twisted in her own way. But I do think, like, and maybe they won't talk about it, but maybe she'll not bring it up or not approach Carly like she did. What was it, like a couple of weeks ago, where she just approached her with this situation, and it kind of came out of nowhere, where she brought his name up and brought up the fact that she was still being blamed for something. Maybe she'll just drop it and let it go and not have it come up again.
Maybe, because you're right. It is Ava, and I mean, it's not like I think that something horrific will make her more warm. It'll just kind of make her more Ava. But yeah, we'll definitely see because this is what's really interesting. As much as I really didn't want Kiki to die. I just think that at the very least we have the impact of all of it, and I'm really curious to see how this will impact everyone and how this will change and affect Ava moving forward. But just to take a moment, just to sort of like honor the actress. So a lot of people were really just praising her. I think she just, had an amazing performance. So FMOQ713 on Instagram said, awesome job at Mora West, made me cry. And Coop314, amazing job at Mora West. Oh my gosh, I was bawling with her. Great performance. I'll miss Kiki. You grew on me and now you've left GH, which really, really, really sucks that part.
Yeah.
Just some more praise for her. Kathy Dior, amazing. More today acting. Diane4539, watch today's episode. Miss West, you were phenomenal with your performance, had me crying. It was really, really great.
It was. It was incredibly moving.
Okay, so we covered Ava's reaction. What did you think about you know what? We're totally missing something.
What?
Ryan. It was
Okay, I knew you were
so
gonna get to this. Like I knew you were gonna get to this, and I didn't want you. But do you want to start with how he can quote unquote consoles her? Where do you want to start with him? Because we can go everywhere and anywhere with this.
I like for me, what's really bothering me is just how he's lurking around her with all of this. And Johnny was just rewatching all of the Ava scenes just now because he hadn't seen Ava's performance. I told him it was like really, really good. And so rewatching it again and seeing Kevin, Ryan, whatever, it was just creepy. Like he was smirking. Like I mean, look, let's just try to make it less dark and focus on the actor. He is doing an amazing job because a
Oh
person who
yeah.
can portray like a happy-go-lucky nerdy guy who went on adventures to Cassadine Island or whatever in Greece with Laura to this guy is just it's just so much. Like it's so dark, it's so twisted, and just watching him kind of just enjoy it. Like he's enjoying it. Part of it I thought, oh, he's avenging Ava and just sort of trying to make things right in his crazy way, but no, it looks like he's just doing it to sink his hooks more in her and make her more dependent on him. It's really creepy.
Yes. Oh my God, it's incredibly controlling when he was like answering the door and saying like, "Oh, you can't see her right now. She's not in the right state." It's like, who are you? You just walked into her life in this huge moment that you
That day,
love.
like literally that day, you hooked up with her the night before.
Yeah, I was just like, and like you said, he just gives me the creeps in the way that he looks at her in this. Like, I don't know how he does it, but it's almost like he turns off the light in his eyes. Like a human person has like a glow, a sparkle, a light. He just goes cold and numb.
He does. It's really, really scary.
So messed up.
And just like you were saying, he's just assuming all this control and everyone, just because he's a doctor, like look at what that
Hmm.
type of authority does, that no matter what he says, everyone just kind of goes along. And even Julian, I'm like, I know that he's probably mourning himself, but it's your sister. Even if she's sleeping and you want to go in and just
Oh yeah.
literally see her to make sure she's okay, do it. I don't understand why you're listening to him.
Oh yeah, me neither. I'd be like, that's nice and all, but I'm her brother. Move aside, please.
It's too much for me watching him there after everything because it's just too much. Like you murdered her daughter and you're just consoling her and enjoying every moment that she's leaning on you. And so for that reason, I was really, really loving Scott. Obviously, he doesn't
Yes.
know what's going on, but I love that he just didn't care. He took his place. He walked in. He is Ava's friend. So I liked how he was treating Ryan slash Kevin. So Scott to me was like the light of the day when it comes to Ryan.
Good point. Yeah, I don't like that. Even Franco, that Ava was a little upset and that he left, but it's like I like his harshness. Like he's rough around the edges, but he definitely stands up for what he believes in. And if he feels he needs to be there or that he needs to say what he needs to say, it just comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, all the Scott isms really like I feel it was just perfect for this in this context in this scenario. And so it was really heart-wrenching because you knew the look on his face the moment he showed up to see Franco that he was there to tell him.
Yes. Oh, it was
And
terrible.
it was, and I really, really, really hate to say this, but I don't know. I guess I expected more. I mean, maybe that's unrealistic after, I guess maybe Ava's reaction, that was a mother and child, and
Yes.
Franco was closest to a parent. So I don't know. I guess I kind of expected more of a reaction.
but like Franco's not an overly emotional person. Like, yeah, he's kind of like strange and quirky and all that. But I think we're gonna see the reaction later in him. Like you saw how he was trying to be nice to Ava, and also that is it's not that he's being fake, he's just trying to do what humans, air quotes, are
Yeah.
supposed to do because he's trying to be this like civilized, functional human being in the world. But I think that when it comes down to it, when he has his time alone, when he's in his art room, when he saw like what was it today that he saw her name on the list, like maybe he's going to go to the art room and then we'll truly see his real reaction to the news.
Okay, so the fact that you say real reaction, so you kind of agree that it's really tamed right now, maybe
Oh
mostly
yeah,
shock.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I was hinting at. It was quite, and I mean, you know what? It makes a lot of sense. The guy's in shock. He doesn't have any way to process it. You know, like Griffin was actually there. He went to go bring Ava. Ava went and saw the body. So I think for a lot of people and for Franco, it's hard to know, and you kind of just have to go somewhere and you have to do something. And I think that's what we saw with him. He just had to go somewhere to make this more
Yes.
real. And you're right, he was really kind to Ava, and in that moment he would have never said anything mean to her. I mean, he understands
Oh,
the depth of this loss, he's feeling it too. I just thought it was interesting how he was trying to tell Scott there was no point in seeing her, like
I
saying she only
know.
wants to hear bad things, she only wants you to blame her, so like kind of let's just go. I was surprised that he went to GH. I was also surprised Elizabeth was there. I mean, I know you weren't BFFs, but you were very close. Like she was instrumental in getting her to come forward in that suit against Dr. Bench.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, look, I know people have to move on with their lives, but I was a little surprised to see Elizabeth at work. You
Me
work together. It's your
too.
coworker. It's a coworker.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised too, but the hospital is where she lives. The hospital is her therapy. Her hospital is the escape. Like that's where she goes. Do you know what I
Do you
mean?
know? Do you know what's hard for her? Because you know, like we have the Oscar storyline and we have everything that happened with Kiki, and so far, none of it's really crossed over. And Elizabeth is actually the only one where it's crossing over because she's close with Kim. So she is like for months now, she's been dealing with Oscar vicariously, always on the outskirts, but vicariously sort of dealing with Oscar's situation. And she's also going to be dealing with the fallout from Kiki. I feel like she's one of the only people that the storylines are crossing over a little bit for her. Both losses, both
Hmm.
difficulties.
Hmm.
But
Okay,
anyway,
so you know when they're talking about I was kind of when her and Franco were in the kitchen and they were talking about Cam and Joss and who's gonna
yeah.
fight for like prom pictures or something like that. Like I thought it was a really kind of cute, light conversation in comparison to like the main storyline that was happening this week, and it kind of made me giggle of all the scenes.
You know
That and
what?
a few others, but that one in particular.
That's really interesting that you say that. And that's the thing. I guess it was maybe to show the stark contrast between him thinking everyday life and then hearing news like that. But I was laughing because he's thinking of Carly, and you know, she was all like, at least she admitted that Joss was a nice girl, but she's like, no, of course not. I wouldn't want to be dealing with Carly. But the funny thing is, Carly's not thinking about them. She's thinking about
I
whoever Joss
know.
wants to be with. Like she really doesn't care for them. She really does focus on Joss and what makes her happy, and she's very kind to Cameron.
I
So
know. It's
even there, it kind of shows a huge difference between Elizabeth and Carly when it comes to their kids. So okay, we feel really bad for Ava. We feel
yes,
really bad for her,
yes.
but she's sleeping with Kiki's killer, and she kind of pointed him
Oh,
right at her. Obviously, she didn't know, but right before
I
they were
know.
about to hook up and go to her place, she makes a point of saying, I may not be able to stay because of Kiki. And so at some point, you know, now I don't even know who I want. I kind of want Franco to go after Ryan in the end and murder him. But I don't know. I don't even know who I would want to kind of do it more, Ava or him, or maybe both. Because you know, like in any other couple where parents or whatever lost someone, there's always one trying to pull the other one back and be reasonable. I don't see these two pulling each other back or reining each other in at all.
Oh, no, no, no.
So
They're going to be working together to maybe plot the murder. But when she finds out, could you imagine how, like, I mean, obviously she's depressed now, but when she finds out how this all went down and who he is and who she slept with, she's going to need a therapist for her fake therapist. She's going to need like,
oh
oh
my
my God.
gosh. Well, yeah. And I just can't imagine her replaying every single thing she said.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's going to be really hard because right now we feel bad for her. There's some people I think that are kind of Thursday's over. They're just kind of back to Ava's role in the whole thing.
Yes.
So, and that's the thing. Like, Ava shows up at the end of the day at the police station with a gun. I did see a preview, but I don't want to get into that for Monday's episode.
Okay.
She's there in the police station, and I started to wonder. She's there at the police station. Obviously, she's angry, but I'm just like, really? You honestly? I mean, I know she's not in the right frame of mind or anything like that, but Griffin, you honestly think this guy did it? Like, how does this make any sense to you? How does this make any sense?
Okay, but like anybody could walk into the police station and walk into the interrogation room with a gun. Like I don't understand.
Well, I feel like she's only just showing what she's capable of, and that's the thing with all of this. It's just, hasn't the town kind of heard? You know, like when we're talking about who would do this to Kiki, Dr. Bench. I mean, obviously he didn't, but just saying, logical. Dr. Bench is
Yes.
somebody who's angry at her. The whole town knows that Kiki is dating her mother's ex-boyfriend, Ava. Ava's walked around being angry and threatening her. I'm
Mhm.
just kind of like, what? And again, okay, enough of Griffin and it being a dumb suspect. But I was just wondering because she's in there at the police station. Curtis is just leaving the Metro Court saying he wants to tell Jordan about this thing that he just heard. So I'm wondering because is it going to kind of come to a head where now we're going to go from, hey, Ava, we're sorry about the loss of your daughter, but now we really need to see how responsible you really are for this. And that's going to be so hard to see because she's still just dealing with it. It's also raw. So could you imagine her in this state being pulled in and questioned?
Oh, it's gonna be so bad and very emotional, and she's going to yell a lot.
Yeah, but she's gonna do such a good job. Like she's gonna make it so worth it. Like the thing is, like she did such a great job this week, and this Kiki storyline was just so gripping that it was really hard to pay attention to all the little stuff. You know, like on Thursday when they're showing other things, you're just like, because there was Finn, there was Anna, and you're just sort of like, I can't do this right now.
I
I need
can't
to.
focus. My
I
emotions
need.
need to
I'm
be
like,
with
can you just
Ava.
I don't care of your vendetta. Like, I mean, I love when Anna is working on a case that's just a case, but whenever she's working on a case that is personal, it drives me insane because she gets obsessive. And I no longer see her as a professional and like cool.
I agree because like we talked about this a while back with like Peter when she's like oh my son Peter, and then
She
when
did
she
it
takes
again.
out
She did it this week at the wedding when she goes to Finn.
yeah
I mean, look, I'm gonna give it to them. They were being super cute. They had so many funny
yeah
moments. Finn and her when she's like, "You're not gonna ask me to dance." But then when she goes to him at the wedding, this is the first Thanksgiving I'm spending with my son. No, you're not. You're spending
no you're
Thanksgiving at
not.
someone's wedding. That's about it. You are
I
not spending
know.
Thanksgiving with your son. Stop it. Stop.
Yeah, I kind of cringed when she did that. I was like, are you for real, dude? Seriously?
I figured she would be okay with her going with him going to see his ex, but like she's not super okay with.
No, at first she was like all cool about it, and then towards the end I was like, whoa, 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 back it up a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, the
What's
fighting
on the
over it.
text? Show me the text.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, okay. But when I saw the text, I'm like, yeah, you don't show her that. That's awkward. But I mean, I just loved it. She's like, do you want us to all go there
I
together?
know.
He's like, and I felt bad for him. He's in an awkward spot, but he does need to resolve whatever it is this person wants to resolve. They did, in his mind, they did lose a child together. So there's that. There's a lot to maybe cover, but just the fact that I felt like he was such a puppy when he was just like, well, you know, it would make me feel better to have you there. But it looks
Oh.
like they're going to be taking two different trips.
Right now, I'm just trying to. Okay, so do you want to focus on like quick fire happy moments?
Yeah,
Instead of
go.
like, because we spent so much time on Ava, we're gonna do like quick fire happy times, just so like when you end something on a positive happy note, then you'll go to sleep that way, or you'll like end your day that way.
Yeah, but we have also okay. Yeah, let's just do your favorite funny moment.
Okay, favorite funny moment. These are just like random thoughts in my head.
Yeah,
As
go.
as Curtis and Jordan are getting married, and then there's like the new TJ, and I guess it didn't like stick in my brain the past couple of episodes.
Right.
So I'm like, new mama, new son.
I know, like Curtis, when they say, it's the beginning of your new joining of the family. He's literally
Yeah.
got a new family. It's your something old and something new in one for
Oh my God.
Curtis.
So that like totally made me laugh. And then, okay, one other part that made me laugh is, of course, when like Stella storms in, like, I'm sorry, is there
Oh,
an appropriate way for you to do this? But more so, it was Nina's face on the altar, her reaction to Stella standing there saying, I have to say something. And Nina's eyes just opened so wide, and her reaction to that moment was like pretty funny.
she's such a scene stealer because I even liked her joke when she pretended about not having the rings. She's like the bring.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't have pockets in this dress. I thought that was so cute. But the thing with Stella, which had me dying, it's like okay, I knew she was gonna go there and say something nice, but I'm just like, how much effort did it take for you to get to this point? It's so annoying. And then you're gonna go there and make it about you and such a spectacle. Like you're gonna show up late. You can't just show up late and go sit down and blow kisses, be like, "Love you guys." I mean, she used and said really sweet words. Did you catch
She was
when she
still
was about to?
angry face.
Yeah, she never seems quite soft or anything. But I'm just like, really, this was the moment. I mean, I'm sure everyone else is just thankful that that saga is over. But did you notice when she was trying to find a seat that she looked over at poor Peter and poor Peter was like, I don't know what to do right now.
No,
Did
I
you
see
notice
that.
that? She was so
No.
awful. She like goes to the front and Peter's in the front on his side, I think, with Maxie. And then the other side is TJ and Molly. So she ends up sitting with TJ and Molly, but before she does that, she looks to the right and Peter kind of like is looking all over about like moving over for her to sit. And I'm just like, why you gotta be so mean? It's like you're done being mean to Curtis and Jordan. Now you're turning it to
No.
this random guy on the bench. But what I just thought was really funny, I was just like, okay, I know this was like a lot for Stella, but I just feel like Stella should really just take a page out of Laura's book. Liz slept with both of her sons, and they're as thick as thieves, having
Yeah.
coffee, supporting one another. I'm like, you should just get on board with that. Be in Port. If you want to be in Port Charles, then you gotta be really used to these sorts of things. It happens. Expect it from any daughter-in-law.
Oh my God, that's really fun. Okay, so like another part of the wedding that made me really laugh was that when the scene where they're getting ready and they do the something old, something new, and then Jordan's like, I don't believe in those things, and she's like, I don't believe in them. Like, what could go wrong? And I was like, okay, you've obviously have never been to a wedding in Port Charles because something always goes wrong.
I know. Did you think it was silly? Well, what did you think it meant though that Lulu and Maxie sort of did the same thing?
I think it means, honestly, because like I did pay attention to that part. I think it just means that it goes back to Lulu hearing what she wants to hear and doing whatever the hell she wants to, thinking she's doing the right thing. That's just who she is.
Ooh, wow. That's deep. I was just like, I think they're still not cool.
That too.
Like they're not on the same page. Well, they were, but they're not. But anyways, but yeah, I totally love what you said so much better. Okay, so speaking of Lulu, okay, so things are happening. So she's at the wedding. I don't get the story she was trying to write about the wedding. So this is before she finds out about the murder. She's
Too.
standing staring at Chase and Valerie, chatting about police work, stuff they're never gonna solve. And then the music starts playing and then she's talking about love at Jordan and Curtis's wedding. I didn't catch while she was standing there between Chase and Valerie. More people for her to be
Oh,
jealous of, but I was just like, what's happening right now?
well, maybe she was writing like a human interest piece because like she's also right. She just finished that whole series on like Ryan, and maybe she's looking for something lighter to deal with, and maybe it's a how do you say foreshadowing, love for Chase.
She totally has love for Chase, but I'm just
I know, but
wondering,
they're
do
trying
you
to throw it
think
in our face a little more. Oh, I get what you're saying right now. Sorry, the dots are connecting slowly. It is past my bedtime.
what is the dots? Tell me.
Oh, because it's it's Valerie,
Yeah,
Dante, Chase,
right. I
Valerie,
just meant like love
love.
triangle, but you're right. They
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah, totally. Love triangle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah. No, it would be horrible, but it just basically is Lulu gonna be the Valerie this time?
Ugh.
I felt bad for Valerie. It's like her boss took her boyfriend after she's like, you shouldn't date him. And come to our wedding.
I know it's so weird,
So
right?
Valerie doesn't have like the best of luck. So if she does date Chase, I would rather see her with Chase than Lulu. That's just all I got to
Oh
say
God.
about that. Okay, so I know we're talking about good moments. Let's talk about one more before we get into Joss finally confronting Oscar. So the other funny thing I wanted to say was okay, so Alexis. It's that she gets one whiff of things not being like on the up and up when he's trying to like get out of the Quarterman house and says, "Tell everybody I say bye." She's like, "Ooh, is something wrong with you and Kim?" And then did you see her looks? She shows up at Charlie's. She's like, "Oh, do you still
Mm-hmm.
have that?" Like, first of all, what she was saying sounded really good. A pumpkin pie cheesecake. Yes,
Yeah.
I would like some. And then when he walks away to get it, she's standing there and she has all these like funny looks on her face. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, I've never seen her go so hard and like really go after somebody like this. And so she shows up there, and then when she's sitting, it just looked like she just. I was like, Alexis, tone him down. I felt like she was coming off her shot, like she's eating the pie and like staring him down. We're like, we know what you really want right now,
I
but
know.
I was just so shocked that she went for it.
I know. He is the pie. We get it.
I know. Yeah, totally. So I mean, I look. I never thought I would say this. So, okay, so just about Alexis and Julian.
Mhm.
Sabine Raish said, I never felt Julian and Kim had a connection. He's always been Alexis's man. And honestly, I actually liked Kim and Julian at the start. I did. I love their banter. I love the flirting. I love that there was just no drama because it got so intense between Alexis and him that you're just kind of like, dude, I can't anymore. Like, you guys are just like horrible together. Just back off. It's too much. But then now things are in such a different place. Things are lighter between him and Alexis. And so I
Yeah,
don't know. They
I
do
like the
seem to.
reminiscing.
Yeah, and I was just that was so funny. It's true. She did run him over with her car, and he did try to kill her. But they're so past that. Like you never think that you would get past things like that, but you do. And this is what living in Port Charles is like. And so if you're someone like Sasha, you need to pack your bags and move. just, just saying. But yeah, so I mean, I actually kind of can see the grains of them being together, and maybe it won't be so. If they do, though, if they do get back together, I do hope it's healthier and not so like I'm gonna slit your throat.
Yeah, tumultuous. Like I think exactly.
Is that another word for tumultuous? Don't slit my throat.
In Port Charles, it is.
Right. Okay, easing into the Quartermain Thanksgiving. I know we didn't get to Oscar yet, but I just have to since we're talking about Kim. So is this
Yes.
girl insane? She's at the house talking openly at a cocktail party about the kidnapping she's trying to arrange for her son.
She's
And
going
poor
batshit
Drew
crazy. Batshit
is
crazy. And that dude has some good ears.
yeah, yeah, he does. He does. And the thing is, I was just sort of like, what is happening right now? Like Drew needs to stop being so nice. Like he's even nice when he confronts people, like, don't kidnap my son.
No.
And it's just like, stop it. Stop. Just stop. Because he keeps using the word we, like we need to do what's really good for Oscar. And it's just like, do you not understand? I know he's been so good, and I've said this to you before. Kim has gotten in the way of his relationship with Oscar. If it wasn't for her, you know, he might have actually still had a relationship with him, but she keeps blowing it up, and it bothers me. And I said this before. She said that she was 100% behind what she did if it gave him a few more years of just living a normal life. Not to mention, she said she was ready to bear the consequences. Well, the consequences are he may not want to be around you. You keep saying you guys were close. You were close because you didn't lie to him or deceive him, and you guys were
Exactly.
partners. And now with Drew, he no matter what she does, he keeps trying to be like a unit, and she just keeps making these decisions on her own, and he's bearing all the consequences. I'm like, no, it's over. It's so over. And she's acting like he caught her stealing the last piece of pie. That's what Alexis and Julian are doing. But what's
Ah,
happening is that she's all, oh, I'm sorry. It really wasn't Julian. It was me. You're talking about kidnapping someone. Why are you being so like calm about this?
I know. And she keeps saying my son, where you're right. He's using this we, and she's like,
Yeah.
myself in the situation, the decisions, but you don't understand how I feel. But it's like, you're not the only one in this.
No,
He's
and
here too. And she's so set on her, how do you say, like, she's like on this one way track and she just can't divvy, she can't see reality. She's just blindly focusing on this like terrible thing to do.
well, her and Oscar are very much alike in that sense. It's
Oh,
just a
yeah,
one
big
track mind
time.
when they latch onto an idea. And the fact that she was mad at Julian when he admitted to Drew that he really didn't have any intention in going through with it. And then she literally was giving him side eye, giving him
I know.
attitude, going on and on, lecturing this guy who's trying to do his best to be a nice person. And she's just like, I can't trust you and I can't depend on you. And all these things that she's just shooting his way. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me right now? When a man tells you he won't ever kidnap your son, that's when you can trust them. That's not where you question
Yes.
whether they're dependable or not. Are you crazy?
She asked him the most important thing. It was to leave the mob, and he did. Like that is what speaks volumes. Like, and like you said, he's looking out for her
Which one?
best interest.
Which one? Who left the mob? Like who
Like
asked
for
him?
Kim, like when Kim
Yeah.
and Julian, like the
Oh,
agreement
it's
was that he
true.
doesn't get into bad stuff anymore. And then she
That's so
asked him, like, he did
true.
like really bad thing. It's like, how can you really throw in his face that you can't trust him anymore? And the fact that he apologized, like that just was like, why are you apologizing?
And he didn't even tell Kim what he was going through when he saw her
I
at the
know.
hospital today.
I know. Wait till she sees it on the news.
Well, I don't know. I feel like when the way that they were filming it with like Drew and Kim, and they were like, "Do you want to go grab a coffee?" When Oscar went off to do his treatment, and then they go off to Franco. I just feel like it's two different worlds, and I don't know if their world could handle knowing that bit of information.
Good point. I did
So
like the
we'll see.
JT Drew scene. Like,
Me
sorry to cut you
too.
off there.
No, no, no.
But I really like. I always think it's funny with seeing them together because I know they were acting like the same part. So like, because Drew has this specific voice and way of being, and Jason has this very specific way of being. And then seeing them
Oh, I
together,
see.
it's like my mind kind of like goes all funny because it's like, okay, but they're like the same person. They're not really the same person, but they're brothers, but they kind of don't like each other. But this is weird.
Yeah, I think Drew, like seriously, like if not this, nothing would really bring them together because at this point Drew is so vulnerable that he is really open to Jason. I think he's actually putting Oscar first. Like he knows Oscar would appreciate Jason and Jason can really get through to him and be a support to him. He's been so amazing. He's been so amazing and not really getting enough credit for how he's been with Oscar. And Oscar should realize that his dad is sticking up for him, being like, cool, live where you want to live with all those crazy cult people. It's fine, and trying to defend him and trying to smooth things over with Kim and talking over her and just being like, we're just glad you're here to do treatment. It's like she's not even happy that he decided to do treatment. She wants everything to go back
I
to normal like
know.
a crazy person. You can't undo that. And at the very least, he may at some point want to live with Drew, but like I don't see him going back and wanting to live with Kim anytime soon.
Oh my God, 100%. Like she's asking for too much and she's getting upset for ridiculous things. Be grateful in that huge victory that you just got and take the rest as it comes.
So even when Alexis showed up to the house because he wanted to fire her, Kim is still giving her two because, she decided to take on his case. But I love how Monica was smart enough to understand that Alexis had good intentions. And I love that Monica gave her a nod and was just, I don't know if you caught that. And I don't think I wrote it down exactly what she did, but Monica made a point of saying something like alluding to the fact that it was Alexis sort of possibly her plan all along, that he had a really smart lawyer, like knowing that this was sort of what she had
Mm.
wanted.
No, I
And so
didn't
she
catch that.
so she says like a one liner that's ultimately what she was saying. She said something about like something, yeah, you had a really great lawyer, like kind of just basically knowing this is the path that Alexis was leading him the whole time.
I love
Which
that.
makes me feel
Monica's
like
great.
Monica should have interfered a hell of a lot sooner, and they should have told her everything a hell of a lot sooner. So
Yes.
Joss finally, you know what? It unfolded exactly like how we talked about that. Joss would have all these
Yes.
questions, and you were 100% right on that. She bulldozed in there like mother, like daughter, wanting to get to the point, and this guy still had the nerve to try to
I
lie.
know. Like you have balls, man. Like, it's just too
Barely.
much. Yeah, I know, right? But like I loved all the questions that she asked. I love that he had to like stop and think and answer them or go out and find the answer because it's like you're not thinking about your own health. You're just so concerned about God knows what right now, like living on your own, divorcing your parents, like whatever the case may be. You're not focusing on your health and the time you have left and living that life the best you can.
No, no, he wasn't. And the thing is, she was so Carly in that whole thing, and she was pushing him, and it's what I thought, and it actually happened just way better than how I imagined it. And it's just his tactics that he's used with all the other adults in his life. All these people are like, I don't know how to relate to you. It just didn't work with Jocelyn. She's his peer. She's a girlfriend to him. And the fact that it's the moment she said, okay, this is how my dad makes business deals. She's trying to get at decision making
Mhm.
skills and a way of doing that. And he just goes, this isn't a business deal. And that's the thing. That's sort of been his tactic, is sort of when it's getting too much for him, he makes other people feel bad.
Good
Even
observation.
though he tells Cameron, I like you because you just treat me normal. But you know what? You're picking and choosing who gets to treat you normal and then who you want to make feel bad. But he has been trying to get other people to feel bad. And so I like that she still kept pushing and just pointing out the odds that if you don't do this, it's 100% chance that you'll die. And I was just like, whoa, like her performance too was super, super impactful earlier this week. So we had between Joss and Ava, like they really just blew it out of the water this week. And I loved, Eden McCoy did such a great job when she left and she had her moment alone at the
Yes, I was
home.
just gonna say, like, you took the words right out of my mouth. She was definitely another star of the week in terms of like the level of her performance and her by herself, just like kind of melting down to the ground and that scene with her mom. And it was just like, oh, it was just fantastic.
I mean, that just speaks to Carly. She gets on their level. She really tries to connect with them
Yeah.
and
Oh,
communicate with them in a way that they will, understand and be there for them. And I just thought it was really such a sweet interaction. And I'm glad that the whole secret stuff is done. And, Joss knows, and she gets to have her mom that knows. And I like how, truthful she is with her daughter when she said, I know there's little comfort in this, but we're all going to die. And it's just a way that
mhm.
her talks with them. I find she says, like, they're always so poignant. She always just says these really big things that make them think. So I just thought their hostings together too were really, really good. Really good.
They
Did
were,
she
and I just sorry, go ahead. No, no, no.
no, finish and then I'm gonna tell you something I observed with Oscar.
Okay, for me, it was just to say that, like, my heart went to Cam and the fact that, like, his mother knows nothing what's going on in his life. This guy's going through all kinds of crap, and she just kind of piles it on him. And, his conversation with Josh, his conversation with his mother. I just wanted to reach out into the screen and give him a hug and tell him, like, everything's gonna be okay, Cam. Maybe things will go your way eventually.
I think they will go his way eventually, but I really did feel for him because okay, so let's just go there. So with Cam, like she's worried about Aiden because Aiden is sad and withdrawn. But what she doesn't realize with Cam is that when he gets really upset, he just acts out and gets angry.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot going on with him. We talked about funnies earlier. When she was with the rest of the family and she was talking to Laura,
God,
and
I know what you're
and
gonna
then
say.
and then she was like, "Oh, sometimes I feel that like Franco is better with them than I am." And Laura's like, "No," and I'm like, "Yes." Even
Oh my
she
God, I was
started
screaming at the TV. Yes,
because
yes,
I was I was worried. I'm like, because if he finds out everything about Kiki and he's just not in this place to tend to your children, what are you gonna do? You can't keep sending them off to the vending machines.
I was
But
just gonna say that. You gotta stop doing that tonight.
okay, so I have to say the funniest comment. So this is on Twitter. So okay, I'll wait. So she decides to yell at Cam. So Cam has this like crazy discussion with Joss that we'll get into, but then Elizabeth comes up. At least she acknowledged that she didn't handle that well, but she just starts
Yes,
going at him like, you couldn't just do this for him. You couldn't just do that. And I'm like, seriously, poor guy's getting in trouble. With Joss for doing the best. I mean, at least Joss came around because the thing is, she doesn't know what she would do if somebody who was dying was begging her face to face, begging her. And she really should take into consideration that they're not BFFs. So for him to think to actually do something nice for Oscar, whatever. At least she got there. So he's getting in trouble for that. He gets pulled into their drama, and then his mom is now blaming him for Aiden. Aiden's going through a hard time. She can't even reach him. She can't. At best,
exactly.
we're getting drawings between Franco and him, which is getting some idea of how he's currently feeling, that he's feeling smaller and smaller. But now it's on Cam. I get it. You want the brothers and your kids to support one another. But now you're putting it on him that you've contributed somehow to Aiden's unhappiness or his problems. And what I was dying of laughter with was that somebody on Twitter, Melissa Schultz,
Mhm.
said, that made me so mad at Liz. How dare she get mad at Cameron for doing something she said was okay for him to do? He asked to stay home, and she said yes. It's not Cameron's job to bear the weight of Liz's regret about letting Cam stay home or her insecurities about Aiden. And I started dying because I forgot that she gave him permission to stay home.
Oh my God, me too.
I didn't even
Friggin'
think about
hilarious.
that. And I'm like, that's so true. She told him he could stay home, and then she thought about it later and was like, Aiden was sad about the movie. Maybe if Cameron had come, it would have gone better. So now I'm just gonna go home and get mad at him. What?
Oh my God, it's just like, what is it? Projecting? Like she doesn't know how to act in a certain situation. She's exactly said like she's feeling lost. So hey, let's find somebody to blame. Hey, why not blame one of my children?
But the thing is, like, that's the thing. She's already acknowledged it. Oh, I feel like Cam doesn't need anything because all the other ones do, but she hasn't changed anything. And the fact that he brought up Oscar, like, I knew about it, and I had to tell Joss. It's just, are you not understanding the point? For the past few months, like, you've just been every time he talks to you about Joss, you've just been concerned about Oscar, and I just hope moving forward she'll kind of get the message. Maybe start asking him how he's handling everything as opposed to how is Oscar handling everything and how is everything going to impact Oscar. He has Cam and Drew and a bunch of other people for that.
Exactly. And I really
Who's
love
taking
when she
care of
said, like,
Cameron?
exactly, just because he's a good kid and he has a good head on his shoulders doesn't mean he doesn't need parental support. And then when she's like, I couldn't have messed that up more, and Franco's like, yeah, you could have.
That was so funny. I mean, you gotta love him for that. The comedic relief,
I
like
know.
between him, Finn, and I think Nina. I think they're just sort of the funniest people on the show. There was somebody who was unexpectedly funny, and I'll tell you that in a minute. Wait, was there?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because we want to talk about Joss and Cam. So
He can, yeah.
she comes over. I just have to say, I absolutely loved how Cameron handled himself. I feel like he really stood up for himself. Mind you, I know he's
Yes.
trying to protect himself by stepping back. Like when he kind of said to her, like, I'm out. I feel like he really outlined, hey, this was the unfair position you guys put me in. Stop
Yes.
dumping the consequences of this on me. I am kind of done with this. And I know it's not his intention. I know he's doing a lot of that just to save face and he doesn't want to show how hurt he really is. But I really feel like his tactic of stepping back is exactly what's going to pull Joss in. That and their
Oh,
feelings.
yeah, 100%. And when she opened the frame and saw the picture and she just kind of
Yeah.
like rethought it. Yeah, yeah. I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Teenage
Yep.
drama.
Oh, and that brings me to the thing I wanted to tell you. My observation about my observation about Oscar. I can still talk. Okay, so did you notice how many times at the Quartermaines he reiterated, "I'm only doing this for Joss. I'm doing this for Joss. I'm doing this for Joss." So I
Oh,
feel like that
yeah.
that paints the picture that you know she is going to have to sort of be there for him during this time, and that's what's going to make everything with like, because first of all, the build up between Cam and Joss has been fantastic so far. The building of their chemistry, the building of their relationship, and it's going to get so much more intense during that time. Like, I just feel like that's going to be a fun, intense storyline moving forward, because
I think so too.
ultimately, like, I mean, look, Oscar's not going to die, he's going to live, and I think it's just going to be so interesting to see how all of that's going to play out. But ultimately, she's going to feel really pressured to be with him, and it's exactly what I said would happen. I said it would be easier for her to be mad at Cam than it would be for her to be mad at Oscar. Her argument
Yes,
was
you're right.
logical. He wasn't going, she said, like, her way of excusing him was something like he wasn't in the right mind to make that decision, and I get that. But I feel that going forward, possibly as it gets better or over time, I think her anger toward him and his lies toward her are going to come out. Ultimately, that's what's going to happen. Kim did the best she could by lying to protect Oscar, and it bit her in the butt, and it really is creating a wedge between them. And you're going to tell me that the lies that Oscar told to keep Joss away, it's not going to create some wedge moving forward?
Well, it's like you said, it's like all the once he lives, and he will, it's all the repercussions of when the dust settles. So it's going to be really interesting because then Cam is still going to be there, and he's still going to be her fun best friend, and he's going to get over all of this, and he's still going to be around, and then there's still going to be a love triangle happening.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to see how this is going to go, and also just to see how Joss, because she's such a great actress, just handling just supporting Oscar, because I think being there for him and being back with him is going to be a lot more confusing and a lot harder than she thought it would be.
I agree.
Okay, so the other person that was surprisingly funny
Hmm.
this week was Sam. Her reaction to to Christina was hilarious.
Oh my
She looks
God, that's
like
so
she's
true.
obviously not buying into whatever chapter
Yeah.
Christina has been learning. It was hilarious.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I was dying when she's like, "Yeah, yeah, my eyes are closed."
I've never seen Sam and her be sisters like that, because we always see them, oh, I'm supporting you, we're going for coffee, we're hanging out at mom's house when she's not here chatting. But them living together and having like Christina just be funny. First of all, when she walked in and saw them and talked about their bet, I thought it was hilarious.
I know.
And like, we have to stop meeting like this. And then just the way she was eye rolling her, being like, I'm not doing this. And the way she was complaining to Jason, like she's trying to like cure my flu. When she walked up, she just kind of gave this look. It was so funny to see, because I've never seen Sam like that, like just being so a sister. Like, it was just such a funny dynamic between the two of them today.
I thought it was really cute. And like I just thought it was adorable because of course like there's the music and blah blah blah. So it's like a nice interjection of comedy between the half seriousness of Sam and Jason eventually getting together.
Notice that I just spoke about Sam and Christina, because I'm just like, I have
I
zero to
know,
say
so
about
over it.
Jason and Sam. It's not even that. Like, they're gonna get together, we know, but I'm like, look, I just found them to be funnier. Like
Okay, so
Christina,
talking
and they're
about
funnier.
like
I just can't.
we're talking about couples getting together. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or do you want to wrap this up on a super cute note?
Ooh, I want to get on this cute note.
Maxie and Peter and the almost what never happened.
Yes. Yeah, what got me, because like, I mean, I think it's hard for Maxie, because look, she can't lie, she wants all that, she wants all of it. I just think I just think that the whole like Nathan thing is weird for her, because she's a widow, so I think that's a bit odd for her. But what I thought was the sweetest was the fact that he didn't leave, and he's just like, there's a killer on the loose, so I'm gonna sleep outside your place.
Oh my God, but I just love like how close they got. I love that, the baby cried and she's like, that never happened. And then she's like, what do you mean? That never happened.
They were really really cute. Yeah, so it looks like that's happening. It looks like maybe Michael is not in her future for right now.
No, and yeah, I agree. Like when he like plopped down in front of the door, I was like, you are the sweetest. Because like there's something about him that it's not like Griffin where he's kind of like dopey and puppy. Peter's like sweet and cute and puppy.
Yeah. He's a puppy like that, like really adorable and on point in the brain department.
Yeah.
He's more like, how do you say, like when somebody's wound up tight a little bit, like he's definitely Mr. Corporate, but he's he's kind of like Valentine. I feel like he always says and does the right thing. Like he always finds a way to kind of say and do the right thing and be really kind with
Really
Maxie, and
kind
I
of
love
like,
seeing them together.
how do you say, like a little bit of like, is it just the Cassadine, or like, cause you know how Nicholas is like charming, but you know he holds himself in a certain way and he cares about the women in his life a certain way, and so does Valentine, and so does Peter. So I don't know if it's like just a trait of the Cassadine.
I'm
Certain men though,
gonna
not the ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the ones who haven't kidnapped
Right,
their love interest. I'm gonna go with those ones. But I would say yeah, because we all know that Valentine had a hand in raising Peter or being there for Peter. So yeah, well, we'll say it's the charming, non-psycho Cassadine effect.
yeah, so I really, really loved that Peter Maxie moment of like connecting and just being in each other's lives, and what could have been or could be.
Oh, there's gonna be so much could be. I think
Yeah.
there's gonna be.
Oh yeah, totally. Uncle
There's
Dad, here
so
we
be.
go.
I still can't name our podcast Uncle Dad. I still can't. I'm like, no one's gonna listen to it. Oh my gosh. Looking forward to another great GH week. And I bid you a good night and hopefully an extension to your birthday this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Good night, my dear.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.